In our work with quantitative data, we often see what is referred to as a five-number summary, and it's named because there are five numbers, and the numbers are the minimum, first quartile, median or second quartile, third quartile, and maximum. This gives us an idea of both center and spread because we're including that measure of center, and then these other measures of spread. The minimum and maximum can be used to determine the range, and then the quartiles are percentiles. Okay, so if we kind of take a look back at that example 2.1, what are the five number summaries there? We'll get to that when we hop back into Excel. Okay, so we'll get there. But first, why is this important? Because it allows us to create another visualization of quantitative data called a box plot. Okay, and I'm just going to zoom out here so we can see the entire picture. Now this one is oriented vertically. You could orient it horizontally, but the main features are that there are two ticks for the minimum and maximum value of a quantitative data set. Okay, and then the other big thing is that there is a box, and consequently this plot is named box plot because the box extends from the first quartile to the third quartile, highlighting the median in the middle. Okay, and then as a consequence, because the first and third quartile are visualized, we can say that the space between them, or the difference, would be that IQR, the interquartile range. Okay, so we want to be able to make this box plot both by hand for a small data set just to get some practice, and then certainly using Excel. Okay, so if we do this by hand, okay, we have to order the data set. So I'm just going to do that here, 22, and then I have a 23, two 24s, or actually three 24s, 24. Let's see, I have all of those taken up, and then a 28, and I have a 30. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, okay, this is the min, this is the max, okay, and then I have to think about the median. So let's see, I would take those two off, take those two off, take those two off, and then I'd be left with this. So this would be the median. Okay, now how in the world do you find the quartiles by hand? Well, if you think about it, the first quartile would be the median of the lower set. So if I look at now just kind of the lower set of numbers here, okay, there is some debate about whether you include the median or not. That's the inclusive versus exclusive command that I mentioned earlier in video 1. If we include it, then we would take the median of this set, and then I would say that Q1 is 23.5. Okay. Similarly, if I include the median in the upper half for Q3, I would say, okay, the median is right here. So Q3 is going to be halfway between 24 and 28 or 26. Okay. And so now I'm ready to make my box plot because I have my five number summary. I have the min, max, median, quartiles. Okay. And I'm going to orient mine, instead of orienting it vertically, I'm going to do it horizontally, just for space reasons and no other reason. So if I want to make a number line, and I'm going to put 22 on that number line, and then I'm just going to count by twos. 24, 26, 28, and 30. Okay, my box plot, I'd put a tick at the minimum and the maximum, 22 and 30. And my box would extend from 23.5, so about here, and up to 26. And I'm also going to highlight the median. Okay, and then I would just connect Q1 and Q3 with a box, extend the tails to my min and max, and I'd be done. Okay, I mean, if there was a context, I might need to do some more labeling, but that's enough. Okay, so then the question is, how in the world do you do this in Excel, right? Because you can't draw in Excel. So let's see. All right, so I'm back in Excel, and I'm still working with that column C in our example file. So you might need to access the examples, and then I just hid the other columns just as a reminder. And I found the descriptive statistics already, so you can certainly do all that. Okay, so I could go through and say, okay, the min, Q1, Q2, or the median, Q2, Q3, and then the max, right? And the descriptive statistics give me the min and max and the median, right? I would need to compute the first quartile, right? Doing percentile.inc and then the data set, and then comma, oops, let me try that again. Okay, percentile.inc, select the data set, comma, and then you can see up here the command is still there, 0.25 for the first quartile, and then I can compute it. And I can do the similar thing for Q3. Okay, and then I have my 5-number summary. That's fine. That still doesn't help me graph the box plot, unfortunately. So Excel has this built in, so you would graph it similar to how you would graph anything else. Select the data, go to recommended charts, and then all charts, and then it's called box and whisker. And so you might have, if you've encountered a box plot before, you might have remembered it's also called a box and whisker plot. But then just select OK. And then here you can kind of see there's the box extending from Q1 to Q3, and this one is oriented vertically with the median drawn and the min and max identified. It did identify an outlier, but more on that to come. Okay, so, and then the little X represents the mean, okay, with the outlier excluded. Okay, so just be aware of that. And of course, you can make it all pretty by, doing add chart elements. My little plus didn't show up, so I would just say you can add axis titles. The horizontal one, at least in this case, is a little meaningless, and then I would just need to pretty it up. So this data set is talking about motor vehicle occupants deaths. So I would give it that title and then, or the axis title, and the chart title would be something like box plot for motor vehicle deaths or motor vehicle occupant deaths, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I'm not going to spend time printing it up, but you get the idea. Okay, so again, just to recap, highlight the data, insert box plot or box and whisker plot, and clean it up.